All right, what's going on, everybody? We're back. Another episode here. This is episode 5 of TalentXM. I am Mark Holmes, aka the Deacon. Um, I have with me here another brave guest, Jason Holmes. If you got eyes, you can see we're almost identical. This is my brother. What's going on, Jay?
Nothing
Big,
much, just
big Jay,
just another day. Young Ma,
young
just
Mark.
another just another day, Deacon.
That's right. So yeah, Jay, I wanted to bring Jason on, of course, as the name says, Talent XM. I like to speak with typically athletes or job seekers and try to tie in the career aspects, whether they're entrepreneurs going through career changes or looking for jobs. And I think Jason is a very unique example. His story is quite bright in what he's accomplished on the athletics athlete side of things. Just to give a quick introduction here, Jason and I actually we both started off playing basketball. We had a D1 scholarship together. We were roommates. We'll get into all of that, those fun details. And then randomly ended up playing Australian rules football. I know everyone is asking rugby or what is that? And we'll get into that too because we had no clue either.
Yep.
But one thing to note, I think is really cool. Jason was the first American-born player to ever play this sport on the premier level. And this is in stadiums, just to give context, that can hold over 100,000 people.
Yeah, 100,000. It'll tip over to 104,000, 107,000 if they
Yeah,
cram it shoulder to shoulder. So yeah, just over.
Yeah,
they got the big house in Michigan. They got the G in Melbourne. So
right, and so this big thing there. And we'll definitely want to go through his journey with all that, and we'll kind of relate on the nuances of an athlete, the sacrifices we make, the work ethic, um and then also that transition period, what he's doing now, and things like that, because it's a very tough thing, and I think there's a lot of insight and perspective to be had here. But before we do that, just to give a visual to everybody here. Jay and we talked about this. I wanted to surprise you. I said I don't know how to do that, but I got it done. So I got a little clip for everyone.
Okay.
Just to, I actually got a few, but just to
I'm
show
looking forward to it.
what Jay was at, the level that Jay was actually playing in, how big the sport was, and what he really accomplished. So let's get started with that.
All right.
Here we go.
Yeah, I was born in
FX is
Chicago.
special. Oh, okay.
Sport's been pretty prevalent in my family. As a kid, I always enjoyed playing sport.
When was the
My
last
dad
time you
played
watched this?
basketball overseas for
Oh
12 years.
man,
Andre
I
plays
saw it
in
on
the
YouTube
NFL
not
for
long
the
ago,
Oakland
but
Raiders, and Mark just
I
moved
sneak
out
a
to
peek
France,
every now and then.
a week ago to play basketball.
There we go. I got a little shout out.
Professionally, the goal obviously was to make it to the NBA or to do exactly what my dad did. So
Dunk that.
going through high school,
Oh, it's
that's what I
yeah,
wanted
that
to
was
do.
that was
First step,
mono
obviously,
that was mono
play
season.
college
So
basketball. I was graduating college.
It was a tough year.
And that's when I got the call.
Oh, this is my
try
favorite
for
part,
AFL
I
footy.
think.
It was really intriguing to me to see something so important to so many people, and I had no clue what it was, and I really wanted to learn about it. And once I just saw people come out here for 3 weeks and really learn what football was all about and the culture and the country, I realized it was something I really wanted to do. Making history was very important to me, I think, when I first was signing up to play. It's a great selling
This one I
point
haven't
to
seen in a
anyone.
while,
You can do
actually.
something special. Throughout that summer, after I trained under the Swans Academy in Paul Rouge for 3 weeks, I really realized when it came down to it, I would have regretted myself if I didn't have a crack at it. I don't want to live my life with any regrets.
That was it. My life. You already. Look at that.
My life. Oh, geez. I think I was there for 2.5 years by then.
Yeah, a lot of people make sacrifices to get anywhere in life, and I'd say that the hardest one I've had to make was missing my brother's wedding. I had to make the decision if I was going to train
We'll talk more
in
about
Sydney
those
for 3 weeks
sacrifices.
or continue to be the best man at my brother's wedding. And it wasn't easy. I think I made a pretty good decision.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. Good job. Okay.
Yeah, there's
the editing skills.
Don't worry, there's more. There's more. But yeah, so that just I mean, that was that sport. I think one time we watched it randomly. I think what were we at a family reunion in Nebraska at a hotel. We were watching like one of those ESPN 8, the Ocho
The Ocho.
extra channels on ESPN, and we're like, dang, this sport. I don't know what this is, but it's exciting.
Yeah, I can almost tell you. I think it was Essendon versus Hawthorne. I just remember the colors, the teams on
Yeah,
that field at the time. I was like, yeah, this is never thought anything of it again
yeah, because
until it was
we were
in Funny
probably like
People.
10 years old, 12 or something like that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, so then let's start with the childhood. I guess the upbringing that we had here, our sports background. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, d- of course, I mean, those that know us, we have a very athletic family. Our dad played professionally, as the video said, overseas basketball, 12 years. I played for about 4. Dre, our oldest brother, played in the NFL for 7 or 8. I don't know, but NFL stands for not for long, and he made it longer than most. So, um, what was it? What was your Tell me about your sports upbringing. I think you had the most like overall skill out of all of us. You played everything.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we kind of just started off. Obviously we were following dad around, and we played as much as we could growing up, and there was a love for soccer. Basketball was a constant. I think we even had sports when we were growing up that we wanted to play because everyone else did, but it just didn't seem kind of in our family plan, I guess, or not plan, but that's kind of
No
what
one
we
else
do.
did
Like
it.
no
Yeah,
one else did it. Like we played street hockey all the time. I was like, I wouldn't
loved
mind
it.
playing organized hockey. And thanks to you, it's amazing. We talk about how connected we are. You took the first jump to do a lot of things. You had the drive, I felt like, and the passion to try
Baseball.
something new. And you went and played baseball. And I think I went to one practice and watched you, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, I want to do this too.
Yeah.
We played baseball all the way through high school. That was in, 4th grade. So, um, yeah, try a little bit of everything. I jumped on the golf team in high school because I didn't want to play football because I didn't want to block as a receiver. Um, that's all they did. So I didn't want to do that. And, a little bit of track, growing pains stifling that career, which I was okay with because I still cannot stand running for no reason. I need a ball to chase.
Yeah,
So,
your athletic ability translated to more sports than Dre and
mhm.
I, but you, my boy, you were slow and uncoordinated. So
I
track
mean,
was just not. I was
I
slow,
mean,
but I had quick bursts. I was
yeah,
a long jumper.
yeah, that's true. Oh, my long jump wasn't bad until that Osgood slaughter kicked in. But 32 feet, 7th grade, I was on track, man. I was killing
All right,
it.
don't
No,
mention
no,
that to
it's
anyone as an accomplishment. Just
nah.
kidding.
I've gotten endurance. I think that was probably my strong suit. Was I can
Hmm.
go, and as I got taller, it's like, all right, I can still go. I can run for a while. I don't want to do cross country, and I'm not fast. So,
Right. I
um,
think that's
yeah.
why soccer was always. I mean, you were a gun too. You were a striker, as they call it. Scoring goals. You were running up and down. I
Mhm.
I I didn't play soccer because I had no endurance. But I think it's interesting as we get into the AFL, the Australian football
Mhm.
conversation, how much that randomly translated over.
Yeah, yeah,
The ability to be precise with your foot and kicking and stuff like that.
yeah.
But now, correct me if I'm wrong. I always got the sense growing up that you didn't necessarily like. Did you choose sports in the end of the day, or do you feel like sports chose you? And what I mean by that was, it seems like you used to have some struggles with. I don't really want to play.
Yep. No, that's a great question. Yes, sports chose me. Um, it was it was something that we did. We had fun doing it. There was a point in time where I think even as early as say 6th grade, 5th grade, I was like, I don't really feel like I'm not enjoying playing basketball. We played on 3 teams a weekend. Like 9 games a weekend. It's just like this isn't really. I'm not feeling this. And by the time I got to junior high, I was like, I don't want to play basketball anymore. and played my freshman year in high school. We actually won our conference that year. So you'd think, great, you did everything. You worked hard, you got the win. And I think 2 weeks later, they started doing workouts for sophomore year basketball, and I didn't go. And they're like, "Where's Jason?" It's like, he said he's not playing. So I had made a decision early that I didn't want to do this. But it just kind of kept finding me. You made the decision to transfer high schools, and
Well,
I
I didn't
thought that was a
transfer,
great.
but
Well, you didn't transfer. Sorry, you enrolled straight away, and I was like, oh, hey, kind of want to do that too. I'm following your footsteps a lot, as from the looks of it. But yeah,
yeah,
I just it just we needed basketball players at the school, so it's like, all right, I'll keep playing, and I'm sure we'll get into it more, but it became a viable option
right.
for college. So
Right. And that
uh,
was and the reason I asked that question is because like the difference, or from my standpoint, I loved basketball, or I either wanted to be a pitcher or play basketball. Come senior year, I realized, all right, we're hooping. But
yeah,
um in as we both went D1 eventually, right? For basketball, had basketball scholarships. Um that's a huge commitment to even
mhm,
strive for that, and then let alone get there, and how demanding that environment is. Given the fact that, basketball was just kind of always there. It was just always like
mhm.
following you around. um what was your mindset with that, striving for the scramble for D1? Because once you decide to go for it, that's tough.
Mhm. Yeah. My thing is, I've no matter what I do, I'm gonna try my best to do it my best.
Hmm.
It's if I am enrolled in an activity, a career, maybe school at times, there's a little bit of I could have been better, but at the same time there was a lot of focus, a lot of things going on, and even though I knew that this may not be my passion, it's allowing me an opportunity in life that I want to succeed at, and I
Hmm.
also want to continue to benefit from the opportunities that I'm receiving. So um, I didn't. I think my freshman year, I went to junior college. I still needed to grow into my body, and uh, I went to the first pickup game in September, and I was terrible. Everyone was
Hmm.
stronger than me, bigger than me, quicker than me, and I was like, this is going to be a long journey. I'm 2,000 miles away from home,
Hmm.
and I just,
Arizona,
yep,
on
and
the
I just
border
kept
of Mexico.
grinding. Oh yeah, nice Douglas, Arizona. But I
Yeah.
just kept grinding, and I think you've always mentioned when I came back for
Yeah,
Christmas,
I was
and
let me
there was
tell it. Let me tell it, because I was still in high. I'm sorry, as I
yep,
this still just burns into my brain. Sorry for being rude and cutting you off,
yeah,
but
sorry,
it was Christmas time. I was still a senior. We were at practice, and my dad at the time was the head coach and the athletic director of the school. So, I mean, we just walked around that school freely. And you just came to practice. You were going around saying hi to whoever was there, and when you walked into the gym, we were like, had a break within the practice. Like, I looked at you, I'm like, first of all, you were more slim but
hmm
cut. Your tone, like, you were solid in that
hmm
sense. And then you got on the court, you started dribbling a little bit, and we used to make fun of you for having no hops. And you went up and two-hand dunked, uh, uh with just the quickest, just like no gather, just straight up pop, and
yep.
popped it in. And I was just like, oh my, that's what college does.
That's what college does.
I need to get my grades right.
That, yeah, there was the where I was at Cochise, we worked, practice was 2 hours. You some programs you can be in what seems like hell for 3 to 4 5 hours. Well, Cochise, it was 2 hours, and we're going to go hard. We're going to work hard for 2 hours nonstop. And our preseason workouts are outside of practice, additionals 30 minutes. And it was the toughest 30 minutes you'll ever do. But, we're getting drop step dunk, and
Hmm.
like you just keep repeat. And, you want to dunk all 10. You start out, you may get like 5 or 6, you get to 8. and then you just, yoking 10 all day long. And like you said, yeah, it was 3 months later. Just hard work
Transformation.
ethic, and that was, I didn't want to be out there riding the bench. I didn't want to be out there unsuccessful and not contributing. I'm here for a reason. If you see it, if you see the talent, I'm gonna give it my best.
Right.
So
And for any athletes out there, that JUCO life, there is such a, if you've seen Last Chance U, either the basketball one or the football ones, there's such a sense of urgency. Every single play matters, every single day matters, because you're trying to get out of that. You're trying to get to that scholarship, So there's no time to be wasted there. But yeah, I don't remember how exactly it turned out, because as I mentioned, we both got scholarships to the same school, Mississippi Valley State. And you made the decision. You could have stayed at Cochise and got more looks. After your sophomore year, maybe a higher caliber school afterwards. But we both went there. What was the decision process there? And yeah,
yeah,
excitement maybe. I know I was excited.
It was well, one, we've been at the hip almost, it seems like, since I think we were in first, second grade multi-mac. So I mean, it was a very comforting experience. I think by the time our second or third year at Valley, we're like, okay, we need a little bit of space.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. Don't you worry.
But it was I was at my JUCO, and to be honest, it was, I had looks from other schools as well. So,
Northern
but initially I was sent there by Northern Arizona because they called. I got into their college and they called to see if I was enrolling just for education. I said, oh no, I can't afford school. And they said, well, they must have asked, well, how tall are you or something? I don't know how that came up. It was like 6'8". I'm like, well, let me put you on to the coach. So even from there, they were they kind of were interested. I sent tape, and I played. The coach happened to be in Chicago, so I played in the pro-am, and that's how they ended up sending me to Cochise. And I'd be there and improve for a couple of years and head up there. So, but after my freshman year, I was receiving, looks from Pac-12 schools. Other D1s were calling. Yeah, so Cal was very interested. Cal
Dang,
came.
bro.
Yeah. I mean, this is from what I've gathered over that time. I think someone did reach out to me initially. There was a school that reached out to me initially because they had called the coach, and the coach had said, no, he's staying here second year and going Northern Arizona. So I wasn't getting the opportunity to say that I wanted to stay a second year and go to NAU, or at least take an opportunity of
So you took control of your own destiny.
I took control of my own destiny. I said, if that's how it is, well, then it's deuces. And you know what? I mean, that's something I always want to improve at, is being able to, and I should remember that more, that I have control of my life and my destiny, and that was an opportunity where I did that. So
and that's I think that's a perfect segue to I think Mississippi Valley State, because one way or another we both transferred out of there. For me, you mentioned before, you didn't want to not produce for the team. You didn't want to ride the bench and everything. And I did. I rode the bench. I'm always honest about that. But I decided to leave. I chose D3 at that point, but it was kind of like a, you know what, I'm making a decision here. Sometimes I wonder if I look back, I'm like, man, did I quit? Which essentially, yeah, I did. But in the end of the day, the decisions we make still mold us in some ways as to where we are now, and what we've learned through those processes of being able to just stand on your own 10. So I don't know where I'm going with that. With Mississippi Valley State, though, what did we learn there? Let's start there.
One thing, I'm not a fan of the word quit. First of all, if you continue, you could eat McDonald's 5 days a week And if you stop doing that, is that quitting eating McDonald's? If something's going on in your life that's not positive, it's not healthy for you, it's not necessarily considered quitting. If you know you've put in the resources and the effort and you're doing your best and it's not working out and you're unhealthy, you've stopped doing something, but you've decided to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that you going to North Park was the greatest decision you made from that point on. So look at where we're at today. So
Right.
I think it's one thing if you like even quitting smoking isn't a bad thing.
Right.
There should be another word for that. But what do we learn at Valley? I don't
A
know.
lot of things.
I shouldn't laugh. I mean, honestly, being back home in Chicago, and I meet a lot of people at work, and I'm proud to say that I went to Valley because
Yeah.
we have there's a big connection between Mississippi and Chicago, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot down there. I mean, we grew up in the suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah.
I learned so much about my Black culture
Mm-hmm.
that we only got once a month when we visit in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of it. So it was,
or just playing basketball, pickup
like
basketball in Chicago.
We went to school in the city, but it wasn't like it was in the city, but there's still so much to learn. And I mean that's where I picked up Malcolm X for the first time, and opened my mind to a whole new view of society and where we're at as a country. And I don't know, I learned again another thing. Went to Valley, and you remember we played 3-on-3, and I was just getting my butt busted the whole time. And I'm like, well, Amos is built like a brick house, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to figure something out if he's the center. So I just tried to keep it was just another opportunity to improve and grind, and just sticking with the
And
hard work ethic.
I agree. And I thank you for saying the there's no quitting really. It's just a decision. But with that, aside from the work ethic that we learned, and I got my taste of wake up at 5, run on the track in the hot Mississippi heat with mosquitoes just draining your blood, then going to class, then doing your lifts, and then on particular days doing those 45-minute skill workouts in which your coach is just screaming in your face, intense, and then doing your team workout at night and repeating all over. I learned that type of grind and ethic. Also, even though I left and I felt like mentally it was just not right for me, I will always say, looking back, what I learned in that tough environment, the toughness of Coach Woods, I learned some resolve. Even if I did leave, I remember that off season. At that point, that was the hardest I worked ever. I told myself either I'm starting at Valley next year or I'm going somewhere else, and I'm gonna get buckets. So one of two happened. In the corporate world now, I don't know if you've noticed this. I see a lot of times bosses will be like, "Hey, sorry if my feedback was really direct. I just don't like to sugarcoat." It's like, man, that was like the G-rated version of feedback that I'm used to. I'm used to someone screaming in my face 2 inches away from me and then having to wipe the spit off of my face. Like, you're good. Don't worry.
that photo of Washington State still says he's yelling at me in it, but I'm like, that's not Jay Holmes. That's M Holmes. That's M Holmes.
Yeah, that was me. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna.
Right.
I forgot about that. People, I'm editing that into this video afterwards. I'll let you all see that. But all right.
But having said, Coach Woods was tough, but I learned a lot of. I became tougher. And I appreciate that, he pushed us to a limit that, we may not have known some of us ever had. And, players couldn't handle it. We had a lot of teammates, and we made a lot of great friends while we were, at Valley or in college, wherever we go. But some teammates couldn't handle it. They transferred. But you transferred, but you weren't playing. You wanted to play.
We'll call it what it is. I try to be a realist, but he broke. I won't go into far detail because it's very embarrassing, but he broke me down one practice. It was embarrassing. He had me in tears.
It is amazing that it's amazing that we're not the same people. We might
but
as
I
well.
look back
Some
and
would assume that we are.
I respect. I look back at all the toughest coaches I had, and I'm like, man, I got respect for them. In the end
Yeah,
of the day,
same. You know what? And
you
it's
don't bring that
amazing.
much energy unless you care one way or another.
Yeah.
So
It's just everyone shows care and love differently. So
yeah.
no, I appreciate it. He's doing pretty well at Southern right now. They've got a pretty solid. I mean, they got a solid program. I think they win the SWAC the past couple of years. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
he's a winner. I can't win with you. That's what he like to say to people. But we're spending a lot of time on Valley. But I do want to bring this. I mean, yes, we were happy to go together. But towards the end, as you mentioned, boy, did we get in some fights. I think we just were too alike.
Yeah.
Waking up, putting on the same clothes. We would how many times would we walk out of the dorm wearing the same outfit or the same damn near the same outfit?
Keep in mind we have the school the sport team apparel and sweats and tracksuits and everything. So we got all the gear. So we would find a way once or twice a week to wear the same combination of shoes, pants, top, backpack, and it was just we'd be getting ready, and then next thing you know, we look at it 7:10. We gotta go to class, and we're both wearing red sandals, gray pants, green top, black backpack.
The crazy thing is when we had, let's say you had a morning class and I was still sleeping, and I had like 11 a.m. and you'd come back and I'm leaving, so I don't know what you put on, and we still put on the same shit. And then we had a process. It was like, hey, I had it on first. You need to change. Until one day you won that psychological battle because you put the ball in my court. I had my get up on. You were starting to come out. Had the same exact thing. We just looked at each other and you just went, I don't care. You just walked. I was like, well, I'm changing.
And that's when our duo crumbled at that point.
It was like, yo, we gotta separate.
But yes, it is. We mentioned I did end up going to Moorhead, but I mean, even before that, it was it was a tough transition. And after the year after you left, I still kept going, and it got difficult after that.
You got hurt. And then when you went to Moorhead with Coach Woods, because he got a new job, he took some players over. You got mono, which that had you sidelined for like that. It just seemed like it was a rough ending. Like the momentum just kind of dropped. But that with that, so I think you had a medical redshirt year, so we ended up finishing the same year, even though you're a year older than me. And afterwards, we're like, all right, what's next? We still want to be pros. At that point, basketball was ingrained in you, whether you liked it or not. So
I had committed. Yeah, I think right before I was leading the league in blocks and defensive rebounds, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get defensive player of the year.
Yeah,
and got swiped in the middle of the air, kneecap popped out, and then multiple MCLs, multiple kneecap dislocations, and then that was a season-ending surgery. So at that point, I had decided I wanted to play overseas. I want to go as far as I can.
Like I said in the video, got a taste of it. You got a taste of getting out there and getting into the zone a little bit. And
I found the passion again. I found the purpose and the why kind of returned to me in a more than just the surface level. All right, well, what am I going to do after college? And I knew I was going to play overseas, and I didn't want to. But then I was like, no, wait a minute, I love this.
Yeah, and then it got taken away from me. At least the competition of it.
Yeah, everything. We were working hard 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning just to get the extras in. But so.
But then we played semi-pro ABA. We didn't know that was still a thing with the red, white, and blue basketball and all that. For the Chicago Steam, that was a not very organized situation. It was helter-skelter, but you were clearly, with your size and your defensive ability, offensively, you had a little bit in your tool bag. You
I had a
were
hook shot.
it was
That was
it was
about it.
clear, but it was clear that you were a pivotal piece to the success of the team. But before we could even get into the season, that's where AFL came about. They knocked on your door. So here's another sport that just came to find you.
Yep.
Who even reached out to you? Like,
Yep. So yeah. No, it's like you even watching that video before. Can you tell I've had media training, or I've told this story before? I love telling it though. It's such an exciting part. But so finishing up at Moorhead after mono, and I started to kind of find my stride again, but I didn't have the stats. I got someone contacted my assistant coaches, and they were like, we've got this thing. It's called Australian Rules Football. That someone is Jonathan Giovanni. Anyone that knows Jonathan Giovanni writes up. He's got DraftExpress.com, and they write up the recruits during the NBA draft, for example. They're the write up you see on the app, or when the draft's going on ESPN. He's doing the summary of those players. So he's
done, the according to my sources, LeBron James.
LeBron James. No, I'm sorry, I was thinking something else too from that, but yeah, little Chris
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Can't you tell we're brothers? All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, we'll discuss offline. Anyways, so he was hired by the AFL to look for potential ruckman, which is the position that I played. You need to be able to obviously jump, be tall, and you end up boxing out. You do a lot of boxing out of the other ruckman so you can tap the ball to your teammates. So they hired him. They taught him the game a little bit, and then him and his company went out to recruit players to come to a combine, and they got a lot of call. They called the coaches. A lot of coaches say, "No, he's not playing some football. He's going to play basketball." And they usually turn things away. And I think they reached out to like 200 kids about every year, and about 20 to 25 go to the combine. So it's a tough process. But
so
my coach.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, if coaches were speaking on your behalf, saying you're playing basketball, which coach eventually said, "Hey, do you want to look at this weird shit?"
It's interesting. It's similar to what happened at Coach East, right? It's coaches say, "No, they're not doing that." But my Coach Ellis, Coach Brian Ellis, he got the call and he said, "Hey," he's like, "Yeah, here's his number. Any chance for my guys to make money?" I'm like, "All right, Coach, let's go." Okay, I like that energy. Yeah. So they called me. It was April 1st. I thought it was a joke. And I said I'd go, and I'll watch some videos on YouTube, and they put together a cool little 2-minute package that they would send to the teams. And I kicked the NFL football around in the field like one day, and then I went to LA and for a couple of days and did their the compressed combine. Yeah. So
in which I think it was at that time, I remember the thought process was, all right, it's a free trip to LA because they're paying for it. Let's see what this is about. And then really it was like, now I can go see, because our dad is from Inglewood. It's like, now I can go see Auntie, and I can go. It's
see my godfather. See Auntie.
It's a free trip, but
easy done.
Little did we know, what you got invited to the official combine in Sydney after that, right?
Well, so after that combine, they told roughly about 3 of us that you guys kind of have what it takes. Take a football home with you. There's a Chicago
footy.
Take a footy egg, take the Sharon back with you, mate, and have a kick down at the park. But so I went to the Chicago Pro-Am team, the Chicago Swans, and what they ended up doing was they brought the 3 of us out to the Sydney Swans, like under 16 academy, and we trained with them for 3 weeks. So we stayed in an apartment on Coogee Beach, which is like, it's like being in El Segundo. you know, like you're out here. So
yeah,
we did that for 3 weeks. We worked hard, had a great time. Um, Unfortunately, that decision we were doing Chicago Steam, and like we said in the video, it was Dre and Diana's wedding. So I had to make a decision if this is something I felt like has a viable career opportunity for me.
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to miss the wedding, which is terrible. This terribly tough to make a decision on, but it was an opportunity I couldn't really pass up on, and I think it's okay. I think they're okay with it now. I don't think there's too much
Yeah,
harm
I
done.
mean, they understand as
Yeah,
from athlete to athlete. Dre
yeah.
understands that, and you still made the a best man speech via Zoom, and you saved the day because I bombed I bombed it.
It was tough.
That was the first speech I did for a wedding. I thought it's my brother, man. I can just wing it. It'll come from the heart, from the heart. I'll
You
bring the
got
beers.
hard, kid.
I'll bring the beers. But I bombed it. And the next time I did a speech, I wrote it out first. And
Yep. There we
anyway,
go.
so
Lessons learned.
but yeah, so you made
Yeah.
that decision.
And
The
yeah.
combine. So when did the official combine? When was that?
So the official combine was that was in October, the start of October of the same year, so 2013. The Swans Academy was end of June, early July. They ended up going with one of the players, which is fine. I remember being in the meeting and asking, "Well, you guys have 3 ruckmen already.
Yeah.
What do you need another one for?" I'm asking the tough hitting questions. I'm like, I'm trying to play. I'm not coming in here.
Good question.
And yeah, so I went to the other American and I went to the combine in Melbourne for 2 weeks, and from there we trained with a couple teams for a week, and the combine was the second week. But by the time the combine rolled through, the St. Kilda Saints were already happy to offer me a contract. So, I got to do the combine where you're doing. You know what? I think I did still run the 3K, which is who wants to run 2
Wait,
miles?
so
But
you got drafted before the combine?
so we did
Or
the
picked
combine
up,
as
or
as an additional showcase, but because we weren't actually in the Australian player draft, we were there really for the clubs to see us again and see if they wanted to sign us. But after spending a couple workout sessions with a few teams, the Saints were interested and said, "No, we're gonna take them off the market now."
My
Yeah,
bad, I keep cutting
that's
you
all right.
off. No, I was gonna
That's all right.
say that, and mind you, up until the official combine, I was
Mhm.
still looking at this. My perspective, or my perception of AFL was still some like semi-pro level. Maybe stadiums are like holding 10,000 people or something like that. When I saw like
Yeah.
pictures in the clips of that combine and the get up you had on, I was like, wait, that's like exactly what Dre wore in the NFL combine, and like that stadium's huge. This is real. This
I'm
is no joke.
rocking that Under Armour stuff, man. You see
Yeah,
that gear? I still got that gear. It's in good condition.
yeah. I mean, them things is tight, but yeah.
Yeah.
But uh, I guess so now you're with St. Kilda, and this is the big part of it, which still it took a lot of time for me to process that, this all happened so fast that I figured this was something that often happens. Come to find out, as you got started with St. Kilda, it was like you were almost like in the space race between the Soviet Union and the U.S. to get to the moon, but being the first American to play a game in the AFL, because there was one other American that was promising, and you guys were like
if
neck and neck with that.
if I'm the U.S. and there's a
Well, we don't
Soviet,
have to do all that.
and there's a Soviet Union, and Mason Cox is the Big Red Army, because my goodness, he is. First of all, I was the second year they did it. Eric Wallace played at North Melbourne. He didn't make it on the senior list for any games when he played the VFL, and he was there before me. And they did the combine after my first year, and there's this 7-footer from Texas. He's running like a 12-minute 3K, just like a minute and a half faster than me. And I see him. He comes out and does his workout, and he was unbelievable. I'm like, I got to play before that guy does because he's going to have a career. And
Which he did.
He's still playing. He's
still playing.
Still playing now. He's racked up almost 100 games.
That's crazy.
Was it he played in the grand final? It gives me chills, man. He's doing really well. And I knew I was like, I had to get to the moon first because he's a great player and a great guy too. So he's got a podcast as well, I believe, that he does out there. You can find on his Instagram. But yeah, no free ads. Jokes.
Yeah. No free ads. No, but I don't know how often you watch your own videos. Sometimes I like watching my own highlights because I made them. So it's like it's fun to take that trip. But hopefully you haven't seen this in a while. I got another surprise for you.
All right. November surprise. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think this is the end of the last clip. 1 second. I got to get better at this. All right. So this is when you were announced to get the first game.
I think we probably take it for granted a little bit because we've all seen
and this Nick Rewalt, is he a Hall of Famer now?
Yeah, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. He's captained St. Kilda the most games, kicked 700 something plus goals. His wife's American from Texas. They're big Baylor family, and no, he's a great guy.
Those booty huggers, man.
Hey, man. It's I had the skins, so they weren't too short.
But yeah, this I like this video because it shows some
walking through to start the game, walking up the race,
clips of the game, and at the end you have a nice boot.
Almost overwhelming.
I think you kicked one like a good 60 yards, I think.
See, most ruckman's role is you don't kick the ball. So,
right.
So,
and this is why that's how they start the game for anyone that doesn't know. And that's why they were looking for, I believe, like athletic centers from D1 basketball schools, you know, because it's like boxing out, tip ball. I think you get a tackle in this clip too.
I do, yeah. It's
First born and raised American to play our great game of AFL football. He's making a good fist of it. It's just a great story.
That was a good one. I think you get a shout out too here.
Players coming and playing here. Look at that basketball agility over the back.
That basketball agility.
I remember that play. I was dead tired. There you go. Wait, there's your shout out.
They mentioned me first before the NFL. Holmes, the big fella, Big Holmesy. That's my favorite part.
Big Holmesy.
Something to get excited about. I'm sure back in Chicago, whatever time it is, they would have got out of their chair. And it's going to be a drawn game.
Unbelievable, you know, a draw.
Yeah, that was
a draw.
So you played the whole game, right?
That it's all
done. Shiner on my eye.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
It's been great though. It's been really exciting.
Physical out there.
There's so much support from everyone.
I remember you took me to a practice when I visited out there, and they were doing a scrimmage, and there was a collision.
I took that mark in the third quarter,
and just hearing the bone-on-bone muscle, 265
really good feeling.
Built dudes going full speed, running into each other. I said, "Nah, y'all are crazy." Oh, gotta stop it. Hold on now. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We
know who that we know who that guy is. If you were watching Thursday night football, November 3rd, that's now the punter for the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's really, I know it's kind of jumping the gun there, but I mean, there's an ability no matter what you do to pivot and to change and to learn new skills and abilities. And yeah, I mean, I remember when he looked at the TV and said, I think I can do that. And I turned and looked and I said, Sip, you can do that. Yeah. He's got the biggest boot, and he's killing it right now.
They still need to they need to get his name right on TV still. Al Michaels. I had to tweet him yesterday.
Did you?
Tweet. He said Aaron Sippis. He said Aaron Sippis, former rugby player. I said sure, Australian football.
Yeah. Right. So I'm glad you did. I thought about it. I was like, it's so used to it now. But no, yeah, that was I actually showed my coworker that video yesterday. He was asking, he was wondering why I was gone in Australia for 8 years. So I showed that. So I actually did watch it recently.
Oh, okay, so you saw that. Well,
yeah.
all right.
I still love it. It's my go-to.
I still got one more for you because to give, I don't know, with this sport, I think if anyone, you see those videos, you see the caliber it's at, it's the real deal. It's premier. These are elite athletes. And we talk about sacrifices, also work ethic. This, the training you guys would do, absolutely just, it was extreme. I couldn't understand the amount of running that you guys would do. You guys would have heart monitor trackers in your jerseys and stuff. It was so meticulous. Every little calorie, every little thing. It was obsessive. And I talked about this in my conversation with Luis a couple episodes ago. How obsessive athletes can get with every little thing. Tell me about was that a slap in the face at first?
Oh yeah, definitely. I did my skin fold test. They want to see how much they pick it, like your biceps, your waist, your quad, your calf, your back, and they find out how fat you are essentially. And they, by the time I finished, they did body mass index test where you just sit in the scanner, which was pretty cool. But they want to make sure that you're not carrying excess weight, because you're hitting people, and you're also running 15. The elite players are running 15 Ks a game, so that's like what
5
what is it 6 miles a game. And then you train, in the preseason, you'll see in this video, you're doing 3 sessions at 12 Ks, 10 to 12 Ks. You do preseason for 5 months. You're trying to eat right. And for me, I had to shave all the American excess off my body. So there were points in time where I was not
all
eating.
that good American cheese, baby.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm back on it now. Can't stop me. Can't hold me back.
So you never did quit the cheese.
Never did quit the cheese. Yeah, there's no quitting, right?
No quitting.
So yeah, there was a point where I would come home from work and get ready to sit down and get up after working and try to, it's time to have dinner. But I wasn't having any carbs, and I wasn't eating sugar, and I would just start to black out because I had to sit back down. I couldn't see anything because I was just trying to cut that weight as fast as possible. And it's like you said, it's a sports science is amazing, and what they're able to do in Australia with AFL. You see a lot of soccer clubs using GPS trackers, and I think some more NBA or football. But yeah, basically every preseason we'll take a 2-week trip somewhere and do like a training camp. And in this particular video, we went to Boulder. So we're like, well, we're going to do high altitude training camp for 2 weeks.
But not only that.
And in this particular video, we walked/run 33 Ks, which equates to about 20 miles. So, I mean, for any of you Chicagoans out here, you're running from Schaumburg and Woodfield Mall to downtown to the lake.
In high altitude mountains.
High altitude mountain snow. It was, yeah.
And it was, what was the temperature? Because
I get confused if it was Celsius. It was definitely probably like 5 to 7 degrees, I think, because it would have been negative something Celsius, but it was Fahrenheit, like 5 or 7 degrees.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
this is one of my favorite videos.
Yeah, to me, it just blows my mind. So here's Aaron Sippos, current Eagles punter.
We're just preparing
Aaron
ourselves
Sippos.
for a hike session.
Sippos,
I've got my skins on, which is my first layer. I've got a couple of pairs of socks on.
That's just him.
Nice thick ones.
Putting on the layers, but I'll skip to.
No, wait. Let them put they speed it up with the layers. So there we go.
I think the main thing I want people to see is just how cold it looks out there. And mind you, these guys are from Australia, where it can get up to what, 110?
Yeah. Nothing really colder than 32 degrees, really, for the most part.
And they're in 5 degrees weather, running, walking 20 miles.
Oh my God.
That's extreme. I'm sorry. No, sir.
Cold.
If you want to
About
give a
just
little
past
scroll
5
through
o'clock.
so the,
Yeah,
when the
because
sun's
Close
coming
to our
up.
destination.
yeah, because
and
I
it
want to
is
show all
absolute-
the frozen mustaches. There we go. There's one clip.
I think at the end they do a really good. They just kind of show them. Yeah, it took about 6 hours. That was a tough day.
Is that you right there in the middle?
I saw this recently too, and I can't remember where I'm at in the video. I'm not really featured at all, but we're also bundled up. I can't tell.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. I mean, it's extreme. I could never.
You're sweating out there. His eyebrows are frozen over. You're sweating out there too, so like it all just freezes over.
Right.
It was a wild situation.
But yeah, that was
Yeah.
that's kind of been I guess the athletic background and everything. I mean, footy as they call it, you know, it sounds like there was some level of fame there. You got a blue check mark on your Twitter. You did
Before
some modeling.
Elon Musk charged us $8.
Yeah, right.
I got
that. Not a political channel. You did some modeling gigs with the transition out of football. And then when you got your first like corporate job, and was that fame or recognition still there afterwards? Did people just know who you were, or was that kind of tough to transition away from the spotlight, so to speak?
Yeah, there was overlap. Even being in Australia, I'm 6'8" black guy from the States. I look different, so I did stand out. So I wasn't famous, but you call it a C-lister celebrity or whatever you want to call it. But it was it was beneficial. It did help. In that transition, there's people see what you've done. We talk about the skills that you learn as an athlete and how that transitions into the workforce, and people see that you worked hard. They see that you're enigmatic and you have a personality and character, and they want to give good people an opportunity to thrive and to grow with them as well. So I continued playing amateur football for the old Zabs, the old boys there, and from there I had a lot of resources and connections, and ended up working at Honan Insurance, which was a great experience, great opportunity, and I love everybody from Old Zabs and from Honan.
I got to meet a lot of them.
Actually. You got to meet a lot of them, and there's so much love there where I was able to grow as an individual as well, personally, through my career. But I made that transition from Saints to Old Zabs and Honan. That was the first move I made after a couple months off, deciding what I wanted to do. And from there, I really didn't experience too much about how my experience or my success as an athlete and how that continued further, where the additional benefit was, because I landed in a great spot right off the bat. And I know that there's obviously understanding of what I had done in the past. But by then, it was about, how could I help Honan? How could they help me? And how we were winning football games at Old Zabs too. So
was that part of a somewhat of an agreement that it was like, hey, you'll play for this team, but we also have a full-time job for you. You get your start in, your next career and stuff like that. Was that like planned, or was it a coincidence?
Yep. So the way it works out, that you can play like semi-pro, like you were thinking about before, where you make $1,000 a game, play 20 games. Maybe there's a little signing bonus of a few grand, but you still need to go find a job as well. Whereas you can play amateur football where there is no pay, but what you do is you're injected into a community that we're a family. We play football, we enjoy that, but we want to see everyone succeed. What are you interested in? We have people that own businesses or work in industries across the whole city. So I want to do something. I took coursework to be a financial planner my last year at the Saints, and that was something that interested me, a little bit of finances. And from there, Damian Honan, who started Honan Insurance, wanted to bring me in. So before you know it, I'm doing life insurance, life income protection, and for employee benefits. And even from there, I transferred into transitioned into general insurance, business general insurance. So
Mhm.
yeah, they if you know what you want to do and you give back to the community as well, like they can be really supportive. So
Right.
I met a
If
lot of great friends there.
it felt like the clubs that I would play for in Europe, small club community. Everyone knows each other. I always had supporters of the club inviting me to their home for dinners and stuff like that, and it was just you really immerse yourself into it, and you kind of become part of the family, so to speak.
Mhm.
So that's what I liked about when I went and visited you when you were playing with them.
Yeah.
So from a corporate sense,
Mhm.
with insurance, did you like doing this? Because I mean, eventually, I mean, it's not what you're doing now, and we'll get to that. But um, how did you feel there? Was it kind of like, all right, it's time to make a change? What did that look like?
Well, I was in the best. I'm so excited that I'm happy and grateful that I learned that corporate lifestyle. I've learned to put a suit and tie on every day. I can iron my shirt now. No, that's but there's a whole gamut of skills that you need to learn to be able to communicate with customers. How quickly can you whip up a report? When I first started working there, I didn't know how to send an email.
Mm,
We emailed in college, but did we really correspond via email? We didn't do any of that. So it was a huge learning curve again, similar to when I played football. I needed to learn new skills, and I, I was in the best environment, uh, and I saw that I had provided value to the company that I was at, and um, I thought I was good at what I was doing. I wasn't great, particularly, but at the same time, I don't think it was for me. I was the corporate environment was kind of tough on me. I felt like even after doing transitioning from football,
mm-hmm.
player that we did the players union, and I went to a workshop, and you take those assessment tests that take like 2 hours, and a lot of it, which I love them because it's like, oh, it says that this should be my career, you
Mm-hmm.
know, pretty accurately. This what I'm doing now falls more in line for what's best for me.
Oh,
Um,
according to those tests too.
yep.
So hands-on work, because currently you do air compression repairs. You're a technician for a company here in Chicago suburbs. You were like, hey, I did these tests, and you know what? I would like this. Keep busy physically and stuff like that. Or correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, the test was 4 years
Right.
before coming home, right? So,
There was some
but
context.
yeah, for sure, and it was, I knew I was working in the corporate environment, but at the same time, do you want to strive for what does success look like for you? Is it driving a Mercedes and having a summer home or whatever it is? Like it could be, and I thought that's something that I wanted. Not to say you can't reach those goals in other avenues, but I know one thing: I wasn't happy in my day to day. So when I came home, I was like, well, it may be, I don't know much about hands-on skill work, but I think that's something I would enjoy. So, I went to I walked into a job fair out here in Elk Grove, and I met the Birds who own Air Services Company,
Mm.
and they felt like I said, well, have you done anything hands on? I'm like, well, I changed popped the door panel off my car and changed the motor on my window. But I guess, do you really count that? Although my
I
washing
get
machine wasn't
by,
working. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I said, oh yeah, you can figure this out. And honestly, what I do now is I look for leaks in the compressed air system at our customers' locations. Um, it's no cost to our customers because it's incentive by ComEd. So we come in, they get repairs for their air leaks. It reduces their energy bill. They get new parts as well. I mean, needs replacement, and ComEd pays us. So everyone wins. ComEd doesn't have to go build a additional nuclear
Service.
power plant somewhere. So everyone wins, and I enjoy what I do. I work with myself often, but at the same time, um, you know, I, I'm in a position to help this company grow as well. I enjoy what I've learned in the corporate lifestyle has
Mm,
provided me benefit to see how other businesses can grow and benefit from different operations. So um, I love the
perspective.
people. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it was a great transition. I enjoy my job. I enjoy seeing improvement, and I enjoy knowing that I'm giving my best. Similar to what we talked about at the start with basketball, I'm giving my best right now, and I'm helping this company grow, and it's helping me grow as an individual too. So
And you're able to see more of that impact,
yeah.
after a day's work.
Mhm.
I know you call me sometimes, you say, I got this much done that made the company X amount of, thousands of
Mhm.
dollars and stuff like that. You see the impact, and the owners, so it's again that community feel, I'm guessing.
Mhm.
But just to kind of revert back to something you said earlier with, you know, that first time in the corporate space,
Mhm.
I want to really highlight this for any athletes out there that are thinking about trying to get a scholarship or playing in college now, want to go play overseas. If you're playing basketball, get to the any type of professional ranks. Um, this is important, I think, to know that unfortunately your body can't play forever, and there's going to be a transition. And typically there's about three different options that athletes do after playing. One is coaching. Not everyone wants to coach. You and I, not coaches, I don't think.
No.
Another route usually is kind of like some type of sales route, in which we both kind of went. I'm a recruiter. It's kind of sales. You went in insurance and everything like that. Or another route that unfortunately we see is a lot of struggle due to identity issues. I don't know what I'm even capable of. This is all I know is this sport, or it's I'm afraid to try something new because I've been so good at this one thing. I'm afraid to start over. Or maybe it's status, like I can't go from being the guy or the girl, you know,
Mhm.
to bottom of the food chain. So people a lot of times just don't take action. Um, but I think in this case here, yeah, the professional email stuff like that. I I had a conversation about this in the previous episode with my coworker. Um, I I told my boss in my interview, I said, "Hey, I'm raw at all this stuff. Is this going to be a problem?" It was more like, "Hey, look, we want the right people. We want people that work hard, and we want people that produce. I don't care if you're the most polished person in the world." And what I found is, and I'll bear with me here. What I found is that athletic background, teamwork, collaboration, work ethic, consistency, refining a process and a craft always translated well into whatever I did. One summer I had like 4 different jobs. And it was all new stuff that I had no idea what I was doing. But in the end of the day, I always it seemed like I brought value based on
Mhm.
that just the team aspect, the collab,
Mhm.
I think sports teaches a lot. So my point is here for any athletes, and even if you're going from insurance to possibly buying a Mercedes, then to something that's more considered blue collar, someone might be afraid to make that transition because, well, what are people going to think, or whatever. It all translates over what you've learned, and there's no reason to tell yourself things that aren't true. Like, I can't do this. That I have
Well,
no options. You got options, and I think
it's
you're a great example of that.
thank you, and but myself, yourself included. I mean, but as you're absolutely right in that there are options, and you can't narrow your focus on or what you believe is your perceived reality of what you can do or what you're capable of. in the expert's mind, the glass is always full. There's never room for water. There's never room for knowledge. But in the beginner's mind, the glass is always empty and there's always room for water and knowledge. If you have that mindset and if you come across a situation where people say to you, we want to hire good people, you may not have the skills or the understanding. We believe that you are a good person and we want to see you grow with us. Those are opportunities that, you know, you should take advantage of. I mean, there's a reason why TalentXM is is created and is a thing right now, because you're giving good people an opportunity to be linked with good people. And I think that athletes, and not to say any individual that's experienced adversity and worked through it, or maybe aren't sure if they're going to be good at something, but it kind of interests them, just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if it doesn't work, but you'll never know unless you try. So,
Mm-hmm. Shout out to my first episode's guest, Liam Wood, who is a Microsoft engineer. Now I recruited him. On paper, his resume was not what our team was looking for. But when we spoke, the passion he had, the self-awareness of, I know what I'm doing, is very antiquated. I'm working on, I look at a screen that looks like the Matrix with the green numbers and code and stuff like that. But he showed the passion and the self-awareness and the foresight for what he wanted to do. And he was just like, and we said straight up after, before the interview prep or even after our first call, it's like, hey, I want you to know that you don't typically, there might be some questions around your background here, and I just want you to be aware of this. He said, hey, look, I want to take a shot. And I said, you know what? I'm okay with that too. Let's go for it.
Yep.
Man, the team loved him.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many smiles on managers' faces because they were just so intrigued by what he was doing. The stuff that didn't fit, they were so intrigued. So, like you said, you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
Don't limit yourself. So
exactly.
Boom. Put that on a t-shirt. Put that on put that on a TikTok.
I know. This is as they say, as Bill Simmons says, hey, turn on my TikTok camera when he's getting ready to deliver something intense, because
I like that. He already knows it's about to be a clip.
He knows. Yeah, he knows.
But yeah,
he's been in the game for years, so he knows.
Right. I think that's everything. Thank you. I want to say thank you for, hopping on with me. I know you're my brother and it was easy to ask you to hop on, but this wasn't really just it popped in my mind because I was like, wait, according to who the people I want to talk to, you fit that mold perfectly. So this wasn't, special treatment because you're my brother.
I was waiting, man. I was sitting over here going, episode 2, okay, 3. I mean, all right, maybe he's doing a 5-episode anniversary at some point. I'm going to get in here, but no, thank you for having me on. It was this. First of all, it was fun, and I'm so excited for, everything you're doing and the opportunity you're giving people, because there's everyone's looking for that next step in life, their next career, and TalentXM gives everyone a chance to showcase who they are, and gives everyone else an opportunity to take advantage of the great people that are out there. So, it's great to be on, and we'll hopefully I can come back for some other ones as well, because we podding.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to start a new a separate thing, just to just sit around and talk.
I got time. We could talk. I got time.
I had an idea. Now that we're bringing it up, I'll have to get my friend who has aspirations to start his own business, Andy. Might have to try to get him on here eventually. But I said to him that we're gonna start a podcast called Novice Tycoons. Just kind of just going through the growing pains of not knowing what the hell we're doing with trying to start a business or a platform, and just week by week we check in. It's like, all right, what'd you learn this week?
that would be awesome. I think that'd be great content. Everyone, especially you think about in COVID, and everyone was like, how could I run my own business, work from home, drop ship, whatever. There's everyone's trying to do something out here, and I think it would be fun to go on that journey with people as they try to build what they have. So
that
you might get a decent
that
following.
opens up another conversation that we'll talk offline, because you're about to get me going down a rabbit hole on my thoughts on why everyone's doing their own thing. But anyway, not a political channel. I might cut this out.
That's all right. That's all right.
Let's reset here. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Once again, anybody is welcome here. Go to the website talentxm.co. Just shoot me a message, even if you just want to chat. You're uncomfortable with getting on camera. Let's just talk. I'm unemployed right now, and I just like talking. So, but yeah, thanks, Jay. Big Jay.
Appreciate it, Deacon. Thank you.
I'm sure Deacon. I'll see you at the next family function. But
it's golf this weekend. Don't forget.
Right. That's right.
Exactly.
But that's everything. And I'll see the rest of y'all next time. TalentXM. This is Mark. We're out. Peace.